I'm back, Lord willing. Uh, couldn't believe that call come in, but I knew who it was. Knew it was going to knock me off. So anyway, here we are. Yes, yes, I was up early. Yes, I had that. I had that little raccoon out of the trap in his new home and back at the house. By about 5 o'clock, filled the car up, made sure the tires was all inflated properly and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, there we are. Hope you all had a good weekend. If you had a meeting to go to, I hope it was decent. You know that old psalm song I talk about some. I think it's got a lot of Arminianism about it, but the base sentiment of it's true. Anywhere is home if Christ my Lord is there. And I think any meeting is a good one if Christ our Lord is there. Whether it be a meeting of two or three, or whether it be a meeting of 25 or 30, or 200 or 300. That the size doesn't matter. What matters is, are we there? Are we gathered? And I don't mean have you gone to meeting. Notice I didn't say gone to church, but gone to meeting. Good morning, brethren. Um, the question is not that. The question is, have you been gathered by the shepherd? That great shepherd of the sheep who gathers his flock, who carries the young lambs in his bosom, who goes before them and marks out the way. You want to know where he's going? You want to know where he is? Look for the footsteps of the flock. Most people don't care about the flock. No, they don't. I'm not being facetious. I believe that. Most people don't care about the flock. They have been taught an individualistic Christianity that has absolutely no need to gather together with the saints of God. They have been taught an individualistic Christianity that has no need for the assembly of Jesus Christ. That's optional. You can join that if you want to. You can put your name with them if you feel like it. Everything's up to you. See, it's nothing but an extension of Arminianism. What Billy Graham tell them? Now that the Lord has saved you, join the church of your choice. You chose Jesus. Now you choose what church you want to go to. And you can do that. Yes, you can. And you might as well. If you're going to choose a church, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I know that sounds crazy to some of you, but it isn't. Think about this. Think about old Joshua, that text that's so misused by the Armenians. Choose you this day whom you'll serve. Right? Choose you this day whom you'll serve. What he's talking about is he said it don't matter if you go back to the gods of Egypt. It doesn't matter whether you go back to the gods of the Canaanites. It doesn't matter whether you go back to the gods that were before the flood. They all false gods. Choose whichever one you want. And so do I also say to you, If you're looking for a church with the hierarchical structure, the ancillary organizations, the programs, and all the trappings of modern Christianity, choose you this day which one you're going to go to. It don't matter whether you pick one or the other. You're picking false. It doesn't matter. I'm saying the congregation of God, the assembly of Jesus Christ, is different from the churches that are out there in the world. Because every one of them, regardless of their name, whether they're Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, Serbian Orthodox, Southern Baptist, yes, Southern Baptist, GARBC, you name it, they're Babylon, and they're part of Babylon. You know, we rightly criticize Methodists and Presbyterians, Episcopalians, all for coming out of Mother Rome. But listen, those others got just as many, if not more, errors than these cats do. And they mark it down that they are a part of the Babylonian system as well. That's why you see Southern Baptists ordaining women. That's why you see other Baptists in name joining with Methodists and Presbyterians and Lutherans and Catholics and anybody else in their big ecumenical meetings. I've even heard of some primitive Baptists joining the local ministerial alliance. Oh my goodness gracious! Is that what you want? No. Come out from among them. Be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her sins. Receive not of her plagues. What are you saying? You're the only church? No, I'm not. I'm not even saying we're a church as far as the worldly definition of it goes. I hope we're not one. I hope we're a called out congregation of God that desires nothing more or less than to worship Him in spirit and in truth, because we have been sought by Him, not by the preacher, not by the missionary, for that reason, and that reason only. The God who has raised Him from the miry clay in the horrible pit and set His face. I bet, oh, you got all these Armenians out there singing on Christ the solid rock I stand. If they don't believe that the work of Christ was finished for His people, they believe that there's something you've got to do to make that work effectual, they're all tied up in a form of godliness, but a denial of the power of it. having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Yes, there are primitive Baptists who are in that same boat. Now, who's that? The ones that say that, well, your eternal salvation secure, but you've got to work out your time salvation on your own. They have a form of godliness, but they deny the power of God to work in his children to will and to do of his good pleasure. And they think that they can reach a point of sanctification where God will just have to bless them. That God will just have to because they're so good. They're so right. They're just getting more righteous every day. They're sinning less and less. The puritanical Presbyterian and Independent says, why, yes, I'm sinning less and less. I am being sanctified. Paul said he was sinning more and more, that when he thought about doing good, that evil was present with him. That what he wanted to do, he couldn't find out how to do it. And what he didn't want to do, he wound up doing. That's my experience. Is it yours? How many of you ever committed a sin you didn't want to commit? I think it's foolish listening to some of these guys sometimes. And yes, I listen to them, Reformed Baptist, Deformed Baptist, Puritanical such souls. Yes, I'm going to tell you what. It's my honest opinion. I wanted to commit every sin I ever committed. I wanted to. But my hope is not that I'm wanting to sin and sinning more and more. My hope is that those sins are under the blood of Jesus Christ, that he has forgiven me, that I stand justified from it, and that from his death. And that the sanctification that these people talk so much about is in reality nothing but will worship. And they deny the power of Christ. They think that they can do these things. Oh, yes, but it's through the Spirit. But I'm going to do it. But when are you going to do it? Most of them you can't get to say it. But the answer to that is you're going to do it when the Spirit moves you to do it. You're not going to do it 1 second before, and you're not going to do it 1 second longer. And you're also not going to do it 1 second shorter. Good morning. Morning. Listen to me. I get so tired of duty, works, and will worship under the guise of sovereign grace. But that's 90% of them. I hear somebody now. You saying they're not saved? No, I'm not saying that. It's not me. It's not for me to judge who's saved and who's not. All you got to do is look at the thief on the cross. He was almost ready to expire, and he didn't know it, how close he was. When the Lord showed him who Jesus was in reality, let me ask you a question. Who preached to the thief on the cross? What man stood before him and said, "You need to believe on Jesus"? What man stood there on Calvary? Which of the apostles stood there and said, "Oh, accept this Jesus today"? You want to hear an invitation? You think you ought to be preaching invitations? Preach the same one that was done on Calvary to that thief. Let me tell you what, our God has not changed his method of working. He preached grace to that thief. He showed him what he was. He said, "We're justly condemned, but this man has done nothing." Yet he had that placard over him. This is the King of the Jews. This is the insurrectionist. That's what it was saying. This is the one who thinks he can supplant Caesar. Oh, he was King of the Jews, all right. Still is. King of spiritual Israel. That's who he's king over. He didn't come to be a king to the natural Jews. Remember, there was one time when they would take it and make him a king by force. And what did he do? He hid himself, went through the midst of them, and got away from that multitude. Because his kingdom, as he told Pilate, was not of this world. But yes, he was king of those who had the faith, the faithful Abraham. And that boy was one of them. He said, "We're up here justly because we're sinners. We deserve what we're getting. This man don't deserve anything. Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus didn't question him doctrinally, did he? Morning. He didn't question him doctrinally. He didn't say, "Now, what do you believe about?" No, no. He knew he was his. And he said, "Verily today you're going to be with me in paradise. You're going to be with me in paradise." You accepted the word of the preacher. You did this, that, that. No, because he belonged to Jesus and no other reason. Morning. Look here. Men pervert the gospel by making offers and invitations. Let me say this again. Men pervert the gospel with their offers and invitations. Jesus doesn't stand up there in heaven pleading with sinners to come to him. Absolutely not. Well, I'm going to get off here. I hope that something was said that would be an edification, that something was said that would give you a word of comfort, encouragement. And if there was, give God the glory, because he's the one that applied it to your heart. He's the one that gave it to you. It's his table from which you gathered that crumb that fell to you, not to your neighbor, not to anyone else. God directed that crumb to you. You believe that? I'm going to tell you I do. I believe God directs the crumbs of his grace and his mercy, the tokens of his love, the food, that heavenly manna to each of his people as it pleases him, when it pleases him. Talked about him earlier, brother. I've got something on my mind. I don't know whether the Lord will open the door for it or not, and I'm not going to share even what it is until I see whether the Lord is in it. I'm hoping it's He that's put it in my heart and mind. I want y'all to pray for me that the Lord, pray this, if the Lord gives you a heart and a mind to do so. Pray that the Lord would be pleased to open a door that none can shut, and shut a door that none can open for me, if it be His will. That He would make plain His arm, and that I, like you, would hear a voice behind me in my ear saying, "This is the way, walk ye in it." So now I'm going to say farewell for the moment, and I hope the Lord will truly and richly bless you, give you peace through believing, give you strength in Jesus, and mercy that you'd be able to stand fast, not run, name walk, but stand fast in that liberty wherewith Christ hath made you free. Know this: if you have that liberty, it didn't come from the church. Even if you're a member of a sound and orderly New Testament congregation, that liberty didn't come from hearing the right preacher. That liberty came through Jesus Christ and by Him only. If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow.